Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video, I want to look at the top 10 rookies from 2024 Top Series 1. 2024 Top Series 1 is here. That's really exciting. I believe that pre-orders are actually out like right now and people are actually able to buy the product, which is really exciting. But the question you might be asking as you're buying this product is this product any good? And I'm going to talk about that specifically for rookies right now, and I will do a set review probably next week or the week after as Top Series 1 comes closer to being released. So what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be ranking these players, ranking them with 4 categories: age, prospect ranking, minor league stats, and big league stats. If they are 20 years old, they get 10 points. If they're 21, they get 9 points all the way down. If they are a top 10 prospect, they get 10 points. If they're a top 20 prospect, they get 8 points. If they have good minor league stats, they get higher points. If they have bad minor league stats, they get lower points, and same with the big leagues. I will then take an average score of those 4 stats and then we'll rank them accordingly. I will give you my opinion. I might actually put in the future a 5th category, which is like my opinion on the player. But the hard part is I don't know all these players specifically. But this average score will give us a good idea of what players we can potentially want to target as we're opening the product. So let's just start this out. I'm going to show you number 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11 because they're all essentially tied. We have Schneider for the Blue Jays, we have Rafala for the Red Sox, Henry Davis for the Pirates, Geloff for the Athletics, and Encarnacion Strand for the Reds. All of which are good for various things. You'll notice right here, right, prospect rankings for Davis Schneider is 0. That's what hurt his overall score because he's young at age 24. His minor league stats were good and his big league stats were good. So some people can hate that idea, but overall we include prospect rankings because professionals, their full job is actually evaluating these players. So I think we should have some consideration. We also see Geloff here, Zach Geloff, he's actually a little bit lower because of that, and same with Encarnacion Strand. He was amazing in the minor leagues. He didn't play as good in the big leagues, but he was amazing in the minor leagues, and that could translate next year. But at number 10, we have Nolan Schanuel for the Angels. This player, if you'd have told Nolan Schanuel he'd make the big leagues this year, he wouldn't have believed you. Let's go look at his baseball reference page real quick. Here he is. He had 0.1 WAR with a 732 OPS and a 103 OPS plus. He is kind of, I don't want to call him like a slap hitter because it's not true. He hit home runs and power in college. He did not in the minor leagues, but he only played 22 games in the minor leagues. He played 3 games at rookie ball. He played 2 games at single A and 17 games at double A before being called to the big leagues where he performed really well. He only had 1 home run, 6 RBI, 275 batting average with a 732 OPS. If we look at his minor league stats as a whole, which is again only 20-ish games, he had a 992 OPS and a 365 batting average, which is why this is so high. But again, that's a small sample size because he only played a combined between the minor leagues and the big leagues, like 70 games this year. But overall, he looked really good, and I put him at number 10 for that reason. At number 9, we have Colton Cowser. He is a top pick. He was one of the top picks a few years back, and he dealt with injuries, but he really put it together the last few years, and people have been high in Colton Cowser for a long time. 23 years old. Prospect ranking, he's a top 40-ish prospect. Great minor league stats, and that is not translated at the big leagues yet. Here is Colton Cowser. You can see he had a 28 OPS plus, which is horrible, a 115 batting average. But if we scroll down, you can see he was basically right here, number 38, number 40, number 41 heading into this season. And if we look what he did this season, if we go down to his 2023 AAA stats, he had a 300 batting average and a 937 OPS, and he actually had 17 home runs. So he did really well. And his overall minor league stats is a 909 OPS with a 298 batting average. He's a good ball player. So that did not translate to the big leagues. Again, he didn't play well, but I do think he'll be someone who has a lot of potential to be good in the future. The actual Orioles are going to be amazing for a long time. They're going to be really good. Their core is strong between him, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman. They're going to be really good. After that, at number 8, we have Endy Rodriguez. There are some players where I don't really think of them going into these sets when I make these reviews. And no offense to Endy Rodriguez, I know who he was, but I didn't think he'd be this high. But look at Endy Rodriguez. He did not play that great offensively at the big leagues. He played great on defense and base running. He plays catcher, first baseman, and he's a left fielder. All these things are good for Endy. But if we actually go to his stats down here, he is a top 23 according to Baseball America. Major League Baseball and Baseball Prospectus both have him at 55. But if we look at his minor league stats this year in particular, they weren't crazy, right? A 771 OPS at AAA, but that did get him to the big leagues where it didn't quite translate offensively, and not everybody has to translate offensively at age 23. His overall minor league stats are a little bit higher, with a 296 batting average and an 895 OPS. So that's really good, and that's why I have him ranked where he is. I gave him basically slightly better than average minor league stats. I took the AAA stats into consideration as well as his career minor league stats, and I said he's about average in the big leagues, and that's why he's number 8 on this list. At number 7, we have Gavin Williams. I don't know what the Guardians are doing, but they just produce quality pitchers consistently, and it's kind of crazy. He's 23. He is a number 30 prospect. His minor league stats were good, and on top of that, his major league stats were above average. So they're like Gavin Williams. You could say the 6th grade is too harsh, and I actually, looking at this, accidentally probably did 6 instead of 7. Maybe it's his whip was what scared me a little bit, but he was 3-5 with a 3.29 ERA with a 1.8 WAR. So I don't know why I ranked him so low. So forgive me, Gavin Williams. He could even be up a spot. Maybe it's because he's a pitcher. I knocked it down a little bit, but either way, he could be slightly higher if you wanted him to be. But Gavin Williams looks good. If we go to his minor league stats again, here's his prospect rankings: 20s, 40s, and 20s, which is why I gave him 7. I got right in the middle between both of them. And he's been good in the minor leagues. A 2.10 ERA in the minors, and then this year, 3.29 ERA. So yes, I think this could easily be an 8. Maybe that was an error on my part when I made this video. At number 6, we have Curtis Mead. Curtis Mead, he is 22 years old. He is a top 30 prospect, good minor league stats, and he didn't have anything really crazy this year offensively in the big leagues, an 89 OPS plus and 0.5 WAR. But if we scroll down again, you'll see good prospect rankings, which is great. Baseball Prospectus was really high on him at number 16, and for good reason. If we go down to his last few years minor league stats, we'll see in 2022 he had a 298 batting average and 922 OPS, 390 on base percentage, which is awesome, with 13 home runs and 50 RBI, which is what got him so high. He regressed slightly this year between rookie ball and AAA. He only played 4 games in rookie ball, but in AAA he still was good with a 287 batting average and an 879 OPS. And then he had 24 games at the big league level where he had a 676 OPS, 253 batting average. Not any power yet, but again, he is 22. To get to the big leagues, it can take a little bit of time. So he is someone who looks really good for the Rays. They are good at developing as well. Obviously, that's why they've been so good lately. And at number 5, we have Sal Frelick. He's awesome for the Brewers, right? He has 23 years old, top 30 prospect. His actual minor league stats, he was solid, and his big league stats were solid. 1.2 WAR, 91 OPS plus, a 672 OPS isn't great, but overall, he's doing well because of other things he can do. Look at his minor league stats. I didn't think he deserved to be like an 8 or a 9. His last year in AAA, he was not great, honestly. But if you look at his previous year between high A and AAA, he had a 331 batting average with an 883 OPS, 11 home runs. You get the idea. He has a lot of potential. And at the big leagues this year, I gave him a 7. That's because it was with 1.2 WAR with defense and base running considered. And so overall, Sal Frelick, he has a lot of potential. I think he had some big like clutch moments this year as well. At number 4, you have Marco Luciano. Marco Luciano for the Giants. Interesting player. He has always been a top prospect since he's been in the Giants system. And a lot of his value has been based off of projections, based off of who he is as a player and the tools he has. Because he's only 21 years old, which is why he has 9 points here, and he is a top 20 prospect, but in the minor leagues, he has not quite been as good as you would expect, and it also did not translate to the big leagues yet. He only had 39 at-bats, so very small sample size. All of these are small sample sizes with rookies, but you kind of can get an idea if someone's amazing that they might be for real. If we scroll down, we can see again very high prospect ranking since 2020, and if we scroll down, we can see his career minor league stats is a 259 batting average, then 834 OPS and 55 home runs in 292 games. So that's good. It's above average, which is why again I gave him a 6.5, which is good, but it's not what you'd expect from Marco Luciano yet. He has a lot of potential, very young at age 21 in AAA and at the big leagues, which is why he still has a great prospect ranking. So he's one of those players that you can buy and yeah, he'll be great, or he just won't be good at all. He might just be an average baseball player for the Giants for the next 5 to 10 years, or he could be a perennial all-star. We'll have to see what happens with him. He is a high-risk, high-reward type player in this set, in my opinion. At number 3 of Jasson Dominguez for the Yankees. He is also an interesting player because he doesn't have great minor league stats either. He shows a lot of potential. He is also a very toolsy player. He was 20 years old when he debuted to the Yankees this year. He looked awesome. I gave him a 7.5 for big league stats for those, 8 games. But overall, he got hurt, tore his UCL or hurt his UCL, has to have Tommy John. He should be back soon. There's very aggressive targets for his return. If we go look at his stats, we can see a 158 OPS plus and a 980 OPS with 4 home runs in only 8 games. I believe it was 8 games. Yeah, so that's good. So that's really good, obviously. And for Jasson Dominguez, it was unfortunate he got hurt. I was really excited for him. It's good for the hobby when players like him do well that are hyped before they make their big league league debut, and it's unfortunate it got cut short. But look at his minor league stats though as a whole: an 803 OPS, the 266 batting average. There's a lot of things he has to improve. He had some really rough years his first few years, and he kind of started to put it together this year. You can see at AA and AAA he did pretty well with an 802 OPS this year. So that's kind of who he's been, but he is still very highly sought after as a Yankee, and his prospect ranking has dropped to the 50s. But overall, very sought after player, and I think he'll command a big premium. We will see if that risk is worth the reward. These top two, they are tied for number one. I'm going to show them in order. We have Evan Carter. They're tied for number one. I'm not saying Evan Carter's worse than Elly De La Cruz, but Evan Carter is 20 years old. His prospect ranking, he is actually a top 20 prospect. His minor league stats were great, and his big league stats were great, and his postseason stats were great. This is actually World Series winner Evan Carter we can talk about here. Let's look at his stats really fast. 1.6 WAR, 182 OPS plus, and only 62 at-bats, but it's still good. 307 batting average. Here he is as a top prospect. If we scroll down, he's been good in the minor leagues. This last year, he had an 863 OPS, 288 batting average, 13 home runs, 67 RBI. He knows the strike zone really well. He does strike out, and that is part of his game, but he also can walk. 81 walks for a 413 on-base percentage. This is an 863 OPS with a 450 slug. So we can actually see that is something that translates really well at the big leagues, and because of that, I think he has a chance to be a very good player in the future. Obviously, he proved he can be very good, but his postseason stats as well were also great. So Evan Carter is tied for number one, and at number one as well, we have Elly De La Cruz. Elly De La Cruz, we're talking about a lot of players in this set who have a lot of tools. They're toolsy, and what that means is they could potentially be, future MLB Hall of Famers. Very dramatic, but that's kind of what these tools represent and why teams are paying a lot for them. But overall, he also did not quite translate the big league levels like we could hope. But we can see he's 21 years old. He's a top 10 prospect. His minor league stats are really good. People don't remember that. If we compare him to someone like O'Neal Cruz, he did not have as good of minor league stats as Elly De La Cruz. Major league stats, they still weren't horrible. He had a 710 OPS for an 89 OPS plus and a .8 WAR. He is the fastest player of Major League Baseball. I think he throws like 100 miles an hour, 6'5". He's, again, blazing fast. He hits home runs 460 feet. He's just the type of player that could be very electric if he can put it all together. And again, at age 21 this last year, he got his cup of tea in the big leagues. Let's look at his minor league stats really fast. Top 10 player unanimously. And if we scroll down, we can see this last year. So in 2022, he had a 945 OPS, 304 batting average with 28 home runs. And that is between high A and double A. If we go to triple A this year, he had a 298 batting average with a 1.031 OPS, and he had 12 home runs in 38 games. And this year, he still had 13 home runs in 98 games. That's like a 20 home run pace, and he just struck out a ton. 144 strikeouts at 35 walks. That's not great, but it's not surprising for who he is. He's a young player. Young players strike out a lot. Hopefully, he can get his on-base percentage up. Historically, his on-base percentage is about 360 in the minor leagues. So there's a very good chance that gets up to 330, 340 this year, and his slug will definitely go up a little bit from 410, I would assume. So we're looking at a player that can have like an 850 OPS next year, also playing a premium position and being the fastest player in baseball. So that is this checklist. Those are my thoughts on the top rookies. There are a lot of high prospects in this set. If you look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of these players in the top 15 are actually top 100 prospects. So a ton of great potential. This set could be one in 10 years. We're like, wow, that set was loaded. It also could be a set where we say that set was really weak. That's the type of players we have with the potential aspect. But let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are, who you're targeting, and other than that, I will see you in the next video.